Welcome, everybody, to the PWZ podcast. This is Rick Del Santo. Joining me today, a very special guest, somebody I've been looking forward to talking to all week long. This is the current AIWF Cruiserweight Champion, Gino Toldyouso Rivera. What is going on?
Aloha. How are you guys? I can tell you that I'm very here. I'm ecstatic and I'm ready to pour my heart out and, have some fun. How are you?
I'm great, man. This is, it's getting warmer out here in Connecticut, but you're out, where are you? Out in Colorado?
I'm out in New Mexico. I'm in Albuquerque.
Okay.
It's
all right. So
hot and windy.
Yeah, it's probably hot all year round there, right?
It has all seasons. This one is probably the best. I don't mind spring because I am not a spring chicken and I am not a guy that can handle flowers and stuff like that because my eyes will start puffing out of my head. So I like this weather. That's
like my whole family. So I did not realize that you had been in the wrestling business as long as you have been. What are you going on? Quite a few years now. So can you tell me how you got interested in professional wrestling and jumping in?
Could you repeat that?
Okay. I did not realize how long you've been in the wrestling business. You've been in a lot longer than I actually thought. So can you tell me how you got interested in professional wrestling and what made you take that leap into getting into the business?
Well, my mom was a rabid fan. My mom loved The Undertaker. And I can just remember watching wrestling as a kid. I didn't really know what it was, but I knew it was what we did. We watched wrestling. And I grew up less fortunate. And somehow my mom, gathered some money to buy these little figures of Jake the Snake and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They were called Hasbros at the time, and those were my first figures. And I just fell in love with playing with wrestlers. This is my life, you know what I mean? So I blame my mom.
Yeah, no, that's something good to blame her for, though.
Yeah,
so it could have been way worse. So, you've made quite a few appearances in the big leagues, when I did a lot of research on you this afternoon. So, and then not to mention your career, but I want to first start off with Championship Wrestling from Arizona at the United Wrestling Network. I did see a clip of you on there where you nutshotted Manny Lemons. So I love Manny Lemons. I'm a huge fan of his. So what brought that about and how long were you out there for?
Oh, gosh. As you can see behind me is actually... That's something I held on for 350. And Manny Lemons just happened to be one of the guys that I defeated in a tournament to get here to win this. And he just stayed like a fly on crap, and he just kept bugging. And I just literally had to do what I had to do and just, take him out of the situation, go a little low on him. You know what I mean? But
got you.
Definitely, Championship Wrestling from Arizona has been my home and what actually made me. You know what I mean? This was my first championship that I ever won. And I've literally, I think it was in 2017, and I haven't been without a championship since, and it's 2022. Lord help us.
That's quite the accomplishment. Yeah. Of course, during, when COVID hit and stuff like that, a lot of organizations shut down for quite some time, and they were amongst that because I know they weren't allowed to run shows. Have they started running shows again out there as far as Championship Wrestling?
They haven't been able to pick back up yet, but I heard some rumblings in the wind that certain something is coming. Can't really say, not really sure, can't confirm it, but I have heard that we aren't done yet. So, but as far as shows in Arizona, every weekend there's something, and I'm always there.
Yeah, I loved watching that show. I live out in Connecticut, and a good portion of the wrestling I watch is either down south or out west. So it's kind of funny. So let's see. Are you still frozen?
Did we lose it?
You look like we keep freezing here for a second, and then you come back. So let's try to work through this as best we can.
Got it.
Got it. So, you had a chance to work with Fred Rosser, aka Darren Young.
Yes, I love Fred to death. Fred beat the living daylights out of me. He taught me so much, and we've gotten to be very close as far as a mentor, friend, and call Fred pretty much right now, and I'm pretty sure he'll answer no matter what time of day, what time it is, he'll answer it and just he'll talk to me. I mean, we've both gone through some hard times, and I wrestled him countless times. I've defeated him for titles, and I've lost to him for with titles and stuff like that. So Fred's awesome. You should check him out on New Japan. He's kicking another beast. I don't know why he's not back. Needs to be. You know what I mean? He's just one of the best ever.
He's killing it over there in New Japan. I tell you. I guess that's WWE's loss. You got to think of it that way because he's really making his mark over there. I watch them every week, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. And I prefer him over there. He's a little bit more serious. He did a lot of really great work in the NWA for that brief period that he was there as well.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Mr. Rivera. So let's see. You had a great. I guess you had a rivalry with Mr. Jack Ledger. And I watched a match of you guys working for, was it Battle Zone Wrestling? Was that Below Zero Wrestling. Sorry about that. Yep. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this match quite a bit. Tell me about your rivalry with that guy.
It was more of a match where I had to test this guy, right? I was the ultimate test. Everyone he's ever wrestled was lackluster, and they weren't bringing him to the heights that he needed to be, at the time and moment. And what happened was they brought me in there, and I was there to not only beat him up, but defeat him. Unfortunately, I didn't walk away with the W, but I know that Jack Ledger will forever respect me and remember the beating that I gave him because we ain't done yet.
Tell me how you got the name, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia. I love that.
The Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia. I've been given so many aliases, so many AKAs, so many monikers. It was a chance for me to be different, class, and that's what I am. You know what I mean? A lot of Latinos in professional wrestling, they have things that are like kind of either demeaning or categorized as like the street guy, the ghetto guy. Why not be above that? And because I come from the hood. I understand that, and I don't want to be labeled as a guy like that. I've changed my life, changed my ways, and I'm very articulate. And the way Frank Sinatra is like, he's very classy, he's respected. You know what I mean? And one day I was just listening to this Fat Joe song, and he said, I'm the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia," and I was like, "That's it. That's me. That's who I am." You know what I mean? I dress sharp. I'm classy. I can hang with the best. You know what I mean? I get all the attention, the flashing lights. You know what I mean? The lights is always going to be on me anywhere I go. And I just took that and made it a badge of honor. And no one can take that from me now because I don't see anybody else using that name. You always hear about the, badass this guy or wild man this guy, but you don't ever hear the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia, and that's me.
That makes sense. I like that. That's really cool. That's really good. So you recently won the AIWF Cruiserweight Championship at Below Zero in Fargo, North Dakota. Forgive me if I mispronounce this gentleman's name.
Oh, I can't even say
it's Goran Nikolov. They might have gotten it right. So what was it like to win this title? AAWF is a governing body that has hundreds of promotions associated with it throughout the world, similar to what the National Wrestling Alliance used to be. And tell me about this title win, and what was it like to go in there winning this championship?
Look, man, I came in as a street sweeper, and if you don't know what a street sweeper is, it's an assault gun, as you can say, in the hood. And basically, I came to Fargo, North Dakota, and I was going to make sure that whoever got in the ring with me, because the first guy that was announced, he got scared and he claimed to be hurt. So, of course, they had to find a replacement. And who did they find? a cruiserweight. The guy was bigger than me. It didn't matter. He outshined me in his body and his weight and blah blah blah. It didn't matter. I knew that one way or another, I'm gonna walk away the new AIWF champion, and that's what I did. I came in there, I attacked his leg, tried to pull it out of its socket, put him in a single crab, and he tapped out. I made that guy tap out in less than 10 minutes, and I walked away the new AIWF Cruiserweight Champion. And I did it just like that.
That's amazing. That was quite the matchup too. It was such a good match, dude.
It was
that was so good.
Vacation day for me. Sorry, girl.
That's awesome. Let's see. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then we're going to get back into talking particular matches and appearances. So I want to know, what is your current inspiration in professional wrestling?
My current inspiration, for me, as I'm a villain, and the thing that keeps me going is basically hope. I never stop dreaming about where I want to go. I say where I want to go out loud into the universe. And the inspiration I have is watching all my friends make it. You know what I mean? I like seeing the guys that I trained with, the guys that I shared locker rooms with on the road, when they get their big break, it just makes me happy. Guys like Scorpio Sky, guys like Jungle, you know what I mean? I've literally sweat, blood, tears with these guys, and had a lot of fun nights with them as well. But it makes me happy, and that's what keeps me inspired, is like seeing my friends do it. And I still have that hope that I can get there as well.
I heard you saying in an interview that you don't normally wrestle cruiserweight. You don't hold, you're not considered a cruiserweight. But in this particular match, just to go back to that, you ended up, you were wrestling for that cruiserweight title. Can you froze again.
One more time.
Okay, we're good. I've said that. So I heard you say in an interview that you don't wrestle as a cruiserweight, but you are wrestling for cruiserweight in this particular match. You were in there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Any title I've ever held has always been the heavyweight championship, right? It's been the main title of the company. I've never been a cruiserweight in anything. And for the past 14 years, I've been just collecting titles that are outside of my weight class. But when they proposed this, hey, cruiserweight championship, you can go for that too. I said, I want it all. Why not? I'll take that one. I'll take a tag team belt. I'll take a trios belt. Hell, if you get me real mad, I might take a women's championship too. I don't care. I want it all. I want every single belt.
That's a good goal to go for. Really good goal. So what was one person that you would like to square off against? Anybody out of your area? If you know anything about our area, you know, we're out in the East Coast. Who's somebody you haven't wrestled that you would love to wrestle?
Jacob Fatu right now.
Okay.
Journey. Those are two guys that I constantly see and I want a piece of. I want the action. I want all the smoke. You know what I mean? If it goes mainstream, I want Suzuki. I want Minoru. I want Murder Grandpa. You know what I mean? And as far as a dream match, I mean, Psychosis was just, you know, I can't do Undertaker anymore, but you know, Psychosis is still lurking around here in the Southwest, and we do a lot of this. You know what I mean? I'm here. He was here, or he's here. You know, I'm coming there. I'm gonna be gone. So, you know, the guys that I would like to wrestle: Journey Fatu, Jacob Fatu, Psychosis, and Minoru Suzuki.
Let's talk about you. Excuse me. You've made some appearances in the background sometimes on WWE television.
Absolutely.
You were part of the Big East scene where you were an extra. You played Selfie Guy in the Tony Nese skit.
Yeah.
The funny part is I watched that today and I said, holy shit, I remember that scene. It's like, and now here I am talking to you. What was it like sitting and, doing that stuff with those guys and with the premier athlete?
A dream come true. Anytime you get a chance to do anything in those big league companies is a dream come true. A lot of people want to be there, don't know how to get there. I was lucky enough to be there, to be backstage, to walk the halls, the same halls that Vince McMahon walks, Undertaker, Triple H, you name them. They walk those halls, and I was in that same hall. And it just so happens that I was standing outside of catering, and we weren't going to do anything for the night. And somebody walked up to me, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" I was like, nothing. I'll move. I'm sorry. They're like, "Are you an extra?" And I said, "Absolutely. Is there anything I can do?" And they're like, "Follow me." I thought they were going to escort me out of the building. Instead, we go to a room. Tony Nese is like, "Is this the guy? How you doing? Hey, we're going to do this." And next thing you know, I'm holding the camera, and I'm working with one of the guys that I also watched on the Cruiserweight Classic. And Tony Nese was everything you'd expect him to be. Nice, kind, sweet, hardworking, and just one of the all-time great cruiserweights and wrestlers around.
Yeah, that's he's a great guy. He worked around here a lot before he even got signed to there. And of course, you did work a match in 205 Live when that was a thing. You teamed up with Evan Daniels to take on Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado.
Correct.
What was it like being on 205 Live? Like,
that was actually in February of 2018, and paired a bunch of us together and said, you got to call a match. So we call a match, and all of a sudden they switch it. They rib us, right? They go, "Hey, you are now going to be with this guy." And I'm like, "Well, we called the match together. You are going to be with this guy." "Oh, wow. Okay." They bring us inside the room. We're calling everything on the fly. I went from being a heel to a baby face, getting my butt kicked. I sold. I looked up. I grabbed. I reached for the crowd like, Ricky Morton. And next, I'm getting pulled out of the ring by Billy Kidman and Dean Malenko. And Dean Malenko goes, "How long have you been working, kid?" And I said, about 10 plus years now. He's like, "You speak Spanish?" In my head, I said, "No." But I'm like, "Yes." "Good. You're going to work with this guy. He doesn't speak English." And they were pointing to Grand Metalik. And Lince Dorado's like, "Don't worry. I can translate, help." Next thing you know, they're like, "You guys got 10 minutes. Just have fun. Get over, but don't get over." And I was like, "What? What does that even mean? Get over, but don't get over?" And I was pulled aside, and they said, "Let them do their stuff, but don't do anything fancy to outshine them." And I said,
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So next thing you know, I'm walking down the ramp in Phoenix, Arizona, and this was the greatest moment of my life because my dream came true of working in the WWE, and standing under hot, bright lights, and I'm looking at the crowd. I hear a few Gino chants and Gino this, and I can't look because I cannot get over. I have to let them get over. You know what I mean? I couldn't look and wave to the crowd and try to hype everybody up and get myself over. That wasn't allowed. But the music hit, they come out, and my life is about to change forever because I got in there with two of the best luchadors in the world, being Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. And this was not a squash match. This was a match. This was, let's see what you guys can do, but don't do anything funny and fancy. And I went in there and I banged it out with the best of them. And it led me to many more appearances with the WWE, including another match with Keith Lee that just happened about 3 or 4, maybe 5 months ago. So,
before his release. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that take place, if you don't mind me asking? Because I don't.
That was in, I believe, Colorado or
okay.
But it was his last match. Not his last match. He was doing dark stuff, and he was checked out. Or like, "Hey," I said, "Hi, sir, what would you like to do?" And he's just like, this. "See you out there, kid." I'm like, "Okay." So that match is also available online, YouTube, on all my accounts. It's there. So, yeah.
That's a big shame that he got let go by there because literally said that he was going to be the future of that company. And then literally two of the people that I said that was going to be the future of that company got let go within the same month. It was him and Killer Cross. So
it's all your fault. No, what a sweet man, and he's just full of potential. He's so talented.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites today, honestly. Now I'm glad that AEW had the chance to pick him up because he's out there doing his thing. Let me ask you. Hang on, I lost the note here. You worked a boxer versus wrestler match against Isaac Chavez. Absolutely. How did this come about, and what was your thoughts going in there for this?
I got a call that 2 or 3 wrestlers dropped out of the competition,
Okay.
and I don't know if they were scared. I don't know if they got cold feet and whatever it was. But I've been known to be a little bit of a street fighter, as a couple of my street fights are on YouTube. Me scrapping in Walmart. I don't fear anything. I
Okay.
do this. I fight for real. I will hit you in the face. And I heard this boxer called me out. So I get a call and they were like, what do you think about having a boxer versus wrestler match? And I said, done. I'll be there. Tell them doesn't matter. Gloves off, gloves on. And that was all. That was all they needed. Next thing you know, I'm headed to Coolidge, Arizona to fight Isaac Chavez. And it was a war. It was brutal. It was everything you would expect it to be. Uh, uh, as far as Piper and Mr. T, this was even worse. So it was very much real. I can still feel the shots that he gave me to my ribs. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I
Right.
got a few good potatoes, and the crowd loved it. Unfortunately, I did not win that, but I believe he cheated. I believe, he paid the judges off like,
Right.
any guy would do, so that's what happened.
Took on Aguila for ICW. This was a really good match. You got in some good spots here, and that kid seems to be pretty good up and comer as well.
Another cheater that I won't give credit
Another
to.
cheater.
Another cheater. The guy had Crisco all over his mask, all over his body. I couldn't hold him. I couldn't catch him. I couldn't do anything because he's a cheater. He spent his whole life being a cheater. You know what I mean? And that's why he won that match as well.
Okay. Then you had the Four Corners Territory Championship against Caleb Crush. This is one that I just watched today, and this was a pretty good match as well.
Another loser. Another
Okay.
guy, a body guy that
Yeah.
mouth more than he can fight, and obviously you saw it there. He lost. He stared at the lights, didn't know where he was at, didn't know his name. You know what I mean? And that's what happens when you decide to step in the ring with Gino Rivera. I'm gonna beat the pulp out of you. You know what I mean? So that's what happened to you, Caleb Crush. Looks like I crushed Caleb.
All right. Outside of that boxing match, who has hit you the hardest in ring?
Probably Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik.
Really?
They
They got
there
some good ones in there.
there's a picture on my Twitter of them both kicking me in the face and the back. I don't remember that, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever felt. I've broken my jaw twice. I've lost teeth. I've never felt anything that hard in my life.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. What was your favorite match that you were a part of?
Probably my 205 live match with the WWE.
With those guys? Okay.
It was my dream to be there, and I wasn't expecting it. I got to the WWE expecting nothing, hoping for the best, and next thing you know, I'm standing in the ring in a giant arena, and with my agent Dean Malenko, who's somebody I studied and grew up watching. I was a big fan of the cruiserweights in WCW, and I have this guy basically coaching me and making sure that everything goes well. And when I got out of the match, he was one of the first hands I shook, and he was, "All right, kid, good job. See you later."
Mm-hmm. You back? You're back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you just want to repeat that last part, you basically shook his hand when you got out, and he complimented you.
I shook his hand and asked him what he thought. And he's like, "All right, kid, good job. See you later." Walked off. That was all I needed. Need anything else? That was Dean Malenko telling me I did wonderful and to piss off. And he walked away and I never saw him again. But one of my mentors, one of my idols, like growing up watching Dean Malenko, Eddie, Juventud, Psychosis, El Dandy, Silver King, Super Paulo, you name them. I watched.
Absolutely.
And
That was a great time for professional wrestling and cruiserweights, that whole WCW era.
the best. And anytime anybody about, that era of cruiserweights, I tell them to name other other people than Eddie Guerrero and Psychosis and Chris Jericho and Demon. Like, name the other guys that don't really get the spotlight, the attention. The
Hmm.
Villano, I mean, Super Kalo, Prince Ikea, just guys that have been forgotten. You know what I mean? I was a big fan of El Dandy. El Dandy was
He
great.
was
He was
good. Yeah.
a great ace, and he was big in Mexico. And comes to the States, and they don't really utilize him as much as they did Ray, because Ray was more so the spotlight guy. But I took a liking to these guys like Silver King, who was amazing. Who I don't think was a cruiserweight, but he was in there with the Luchadors.
Yeah, they just because he was a lucha guy, they WCW had this thing that's automatically where they put them in, and
Yeah. What was
that's on them.
in our world of Lucha Libre? We call him a base. Him, El
Yeah.
Dandy. You know what I mean? They're the guys that actually make the cruiserweights like myself look good. So we have to have a strong base to fly us and throw us, and that's what I feel like the Villanos were. Silver King, Sayakea, El Dandy, all those guys. To make Eddie Guerrero, to make Chavo Guerrero, all those guys look good. But yeah, that should answer your question there.
What was the best advice you'd ever gotten, and from who
Wow.
in wrestling? Yeah.
I use this with my students today, and it's basically the day that you leave the business is the day that somebody somewhere was looking for you. And live and die by that, because there's been times that I was going to quit. There was times that a guy like Brian Kendrick took me to my lowest level of life, where I literally was down to the last minute and second of my life, contemplating what was what was I here for? What was left of me? You know what I mean? And that saying kept me alive. You know what I mean? And sure enough, that was in 2014 of me feeling that like that. And 2018, I know what I was here for, and it was to accomplish my dream, and I did, because of that saying. That saying came from, I believe it was either Joey Chaos or the Young Bucks, because they said it either to each other or it was told to one of them. I heard it in a
Hmm.
book out loud, and next thing you know, I just put that in my head and I passed that to every one of them. I tell them that you leave, somebody somewhere was looking for you. The day that you quit the business, you give up, you retire, or you just make bad decisions to where you're no longer here. Somebody somewhere is gonna go, hey, whatever happened to that Gino Rivera kid? Is he still working? Is he still around? No, he quit. Oh, all right. Well, how about you? Like, that could have been, you know what I mean? So that's how I look at that. And that's one of the greatest sayings I've ever heard. That's why I'm still here going into 14 years later.
So you trained with the Santino brothers
I
in
have, yeah.
Chaos?
2008, I
Okay.
was Cream, Carnage, Joey Chaos, Angel, Robbie, Sylvia, Rico Dynamite. I had almost 11 hands shaping and molding and building me to be the wrestler I am today, and I'm forever grateful of that. Shout out to
Who,
Santino.
yeah, I've seen. The funny part is like I rediscovered him, Chaos, by an episode of you've seen that show, Storage Wars.
Oh, okay. What was it?
Storage Wars, where they go into the lockers and then they find random stuff.
Yeah.
They found a wrestling ring in a locker. They had no idea what it was, so they bring it over to some wrestling school in the area, and ended up being Santino Brothers School, and he was on the show. So I was like, that's the first time I'd heard from him since. Yeah.
I have to find that now, because I
Yeah.
love story, and that's the school I come from.
Yeah, that's so cool. He was your initial trainer?
Yes, Joey Chaos started that from ground up. We were actually in a backyard, just a gritty,
Mm-hmm.
dirty backyard with one wrestling ring and a tarp over us, and we trained in the sun, in the wind, did not matter. In the rain, we trained, and we started there. And most would consider that as backyard wrestlers, but we had the perfect foundation, as Joey Chaos was an XPW champion there. He was a TV champion, I
He was.
believe.
Yep.
And he was one of the hottest up and coming young stars in that era, in that company on the West Coast. Everybody knew Joey Chaos. And his foundation that he had, it didn't matter if he trained you in a sewer. He trained us in a backyard and gave me that foundation and showed me that it doesn't matter where you train, it's who you train with. So trained with Santino Bros in 2008, and I made my debut in 2009.
Wow, that's amazing. There really is. So I want to know, what is in store for Gino Rivera?
I only want to say this. I don't want to work for anybody in the world other than World Wrestling Entertainment. It's been my dream. It's been my lifelong goal. I say it out loud. I tell anybody who will let me talk. I will tell it to the moon. I'll tell it to the cows. It doesn't matter. I want to work for the WWE. There is no other place for me. There's no other place I'd rather be. I don't care how bad it is, what they say about it, all the stuff going on that we hear, even with Sasha Banks going on today currently. That's
Mm-hmm.
still a thing for me. You know what I mean? It's I've been back there. I don't know what it's like to be there on a daily, but being there is just the ultimate goal, and I will not stop till I get there.
What do you got going on as far as appearances and such this weekend? Anything or coming up?
Oh Lordy, I'm booked through December of
Wow.
2020. Almost every single weekend. I can literally sound off. I just got done doing a photo shoot today. I'm doing a podcast with you on Saturday, May 28th. I will be in Louisville, Colorado, in a tag team match. I'll be in Vegas for WWE in July, with SmackDown and Money in the Bank. In June, I'll be in uh, Colorado twice. You know what I mean? Arizona. I mean, you just name it. I'm going to Hawaii, Alaska. I'm going to be everywhere. So it's very jam packed. Like the last date that I have is December 17th in Colorado Springs, and literally every single weekend I am traveling on the road, going somewhere, doing something, from photo shoots to podcasts to radio interviews, wrestling. I've got a tar and feathers match coming up. I've got a dog collar match coming up. You name it, cage matches coming up. It's just going to be one hell of a year. Every year trumps the last year. I haven't had a bad year since the luck of 205 Live 2000. Every single year just keeps trumping the next. 2018 was great. Then came 2009. Then 2020, even though we had a pandemic, it still was one of the greatest years ever. Why? Because I lost every single match I was ever in 2020. Not one victory in 2020, but I still traveled the nation, which is wonderful. Then 2021 came and trumped 2020. Now 2022 is trumping 2021. I can't wait to see what's in store for me in 2020. And we're only in May.
Where can everybody find you on the socials? You're everywhere, correct?
Everywhere under Gino Toldyouso, one word. That's it. Everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, TikTok. I am all over on every single platform under Gino Toldyouso, one word.
I want to thank you very much for coming on tonight. I look forward to seeing you. If you're ever out in the East Coast, hit me up, seriously. And, I wish you the best of luck, and I want to say thank you again.
Absolutely. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for your time. When I'm on the East Coast, we definitely are going to do some fun stuff. I've never really been towards that way. And when I go that way, I'm a sightseer and I'm a ghost hunter. I like to get into a little bit of trouble. So maybe we can do something fun.
There's a lot of great stuff out here. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you guys. Has been so much fun. See you later.